begin by welcoming our guest of honor, Dr. Raphael Akangbe, who was the Assistant Director, Data Protection Officer, Lagos State Ministry of Health. Dr. Raphael will be presenting a keynote on skills development in emerging technologies in West Africa. It's going to be a case study, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Over to you, Dr. Raphael.
Good morning to every one of us here. This is a great job that the West African Hybrid Cloud and Cybersecurity Summit is, doing in Nigeria, and we see it as a big opportunity for us to be able to expand our knowledge in this area. I want to just, acknowledge everybody seated in this place because. This is a big opportunity for me to stand on this platform because in the midst of lots of experts in the house. So we're just quickly going to go into, the meat of the matter, talking about the skill development in emerging technology in West Africa. We all know that Africa is a very unique country. It's a very unique continent. And, there are so many lot of talents that we have in Africa, particularly in West Africa. And when talking about technology, technology is the key to every successful economy in the world. And West Africa is one of, the area, the place that, technology is really thriving. So we are going to look into how this technology has really developed in West Africa, and I'm going to use Nigeria as a case study. Now, when we are talking about this issue of technology, we know that every corner, in our various domains, we have, a lot of, technology in one way or the other, where we use so many devices, to improve our daily living. And, this is part of the thing we're going to be looking at. Next slide, please. Briefly, we'll quickly look into the introduction, the national policies on technology, national policy on cybersecurity, technical skill on high demand, top global demand skill, technology, the way forward, identify platform on skill development, and then we conclude on this. Next slide, please. By the way of introduction, the federal government of Nigeria is making a lot of efforts in ensuring that every nook and cranny of this country is filled with, the use of technology in order to improve the economy of this country. And over the years, the federal government of Nigeria has initiated or adopted several related policy and laws aimed at guiding the development of the high city sectors and harnessing its huge potential for national development. What are we talking about here? We have so many, if you can permit me to just walk down, please. I'm a lecturer, and I think I am used to walking around to have a face contact with my students. You are not my student, you are my colleagues here. Yeah, so the federal government is really making a lot of waves when it comes to the technology in Africa, in Nigeria. Like I said, the case study is going to be in Nigeria here. Because when you look at, the economy strength of Africa, Nigeria is one of the countries that we have that is really thriving, irrespective of the various challenges that we are having in the country. But yet we still have a lot of, improvement in our information technology, system. Next slide, please. Now, we quickly look into the national policy on technology. Remember, we are looking into technology, how it can be used to develop skills, for every person in West Africa to be able to, meet up with every challenge that is going on in the global space. So the federal government, promulgated this law. This is a national policy on technology. And when you look at the section 7.4, it talks about the capacity building. Now, Nigeria is a place, a country, where technology has been fully accepted. When you go into every organization, meet with every individual on the street, you see that technology is really going very far. And we are still improving on it. And this section said that transformation to a knowledge-based economy requires significant investment in the development of ICT skills. These skills are required to support innovation, infrastructure, and effective business model that underpin a knowledge-based society. Just like I said earlier on, even before the promulgation of this particular policy, Nigerians has gone into, deeper technology. And I can give an example of, some of the states in Nigeria. For example, Lagos State, for instance, is a place whereby when you need any skill that, involves technology, you can get them in Lagos State. Lagos State is filled with many talented youths, young ones, that if, the society gives the opportunity to them to be able to explore that skill they have, this country is going to become one of the best countries in the world. And the same way in other West African countries. So the purpose why we're here is just to ensure that, this technology, keeps spreading in such a way that is going to expand the knowledge of every African. Now, Section 7.8 of ICT and Youth said the youth are critical catalysts in Nigerian socio-economic development plans and are acknowledged to be an ICT-oriented generation, just like I mentioned earlier on. Talk about upskilling of, development in different facets in Africa. The youth needs to be given close recognition because this is one of the ways in which the economy of West Africa can grow. Now, there are few, adults who are really, into this technology as well. But if, I must tell you this, youth have really gone far when it comes to the issue of technology. I can remember my children, there are some things I feel that I know in technology, despite the fact that I'm an IT, person. But I just discovered that my 7-year-old boy, called me one time and he said, "Dad, please let me show you something." And while I moved closer to him and he showed me something I never knew existed on my phone. Outside there, I go out to lecture people, I go out to tell people about technology. But what I'm saying here is that youth needs to be given close recognition when it comes to this aspect of technology. And a platform needs to be set, just like we have it in the policy. And the federal government of Nigeria is really giving this platform to many youths. We have Nigerian's computer society that is filled with so many youths. And they are giving them a kind of platform that is making them to thrive in their various skills. Next slide, please. There's every possibility that I'm going to really finish before my 40 minutes time anyway. So now, there's section 7.9, talks about the local content development. This is one of the very interesting things. I am in the healthcare sector, and you know that our healthcare system is really dwindling, and the federal government has come up with a very wonderful law policy that every healthcare institution in Nigeria must adopt electronic medical record system, which is one of the major ways that is going to cause a lot of development in our healthcare system. So it is going to reduce so many things. For example, the waiting time of patients in the hospital, appointment system, and so many other things. Clean and clear direct diagnosis, and so many other, beautiful aspects, that is embedded in, electronic medical records. Now, the local content is one of the aspects that is going to really expand the horizon of this country, and also in West Africa. Now, we know that there are so many vendors that we have, in different parts of the world, and they want to have the business with Nigeria as a country. But one of the problems which has been identified, in some of these, imported content is simply because this content failed to understand the culture of our country. And that is one of the reasons why the federal government is striving very hard to ensure that the local content development is one of the key to improve, our healthcare system. Now, the banking industry is another area where, we really need to look into. And when talking about technology, now, the banking sector started it. When we're talking about economy development, the banking sector, started it, in Nigeria. And when it first started, it looked as if it's not going to work. But at the end of the day, everybody is enjoying it. You can stay anywhere, you can be anywhere in the world, and use technology to make different transactions that you can think of. Then over there we have section 7.13, section 7.13, coordinated ICT development across all sectors, which I have mentioned. It's like coordination among MDAs in respect of ICT services will eliminate overlaps, create more efficiency, reduce government expenditure, and encourage holistic planning of ICT. Now, this shows that the federal government of Nigeria has really planned to ensure that technology changed the face of everything. Next slide, please. Now, this is another policy on national cybersecurity. And of course, the emergence of cyberspace, a virtual global domain, is increasingly impacting also every aspect of our lives. We all know. I want to really thank the organizer of this event, once again for bringing up this, into Nigeria. We all know how, cyber criminals have been acting so wild in our society, not only in Nigeria, not only in Africa, all over the world. And we have some experts in the house who is really going to talk more on this aspect of cybersecurity. But we know that the major aspect, the major tool that, the cyber criminals are looking to destroy the economy of the nation is data. And when data is not properly kept, it is exposed to cyber criminals. And that is one of the reasons why the cybersecurity policy is very, very necessary to guide every activity of what is going on in every industry, in every individual's life. It is not only organizations that these cyber criminals are really targeting. They are targeting individuals. Every one of us here makes use of social media. And ignorantly sometimes we release our personally, sensitive information into the social media. And that is just what cyber criminals are looking for. So, but when this policy is in place, it will curb so many people on how they are going to handle their information, handle their sensitive information so that they don't expose. Facebook, Twitters, and many other social medias cannot make their fortunes without you and I. They are feeding on the information that you and I are providing for them. They are making millions of dollars every now and then based on the information we carelessly released and the one we willingly released. So the cybersecurity policy in Nigeria is one of the things that is really going to change a lot of face in this country. Now, the section 1.3 of Nigerian national security threat talks about the 5 key cyber threats being identified, and we have them up here: the cyber crime, the cyber espionage, cyber conflict, cyber terrorism, child online abuse, and exploitation, and many more. These are the very, very important identified areas that we need to be very conscious about. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Now, the subsection of 5.2.6 cybersecurity skill empowerment also talks about what I have discussed earlier. Next slide, please. Now, let's quickly look at the technology skills on high demand. We know that, without the knowledge of technology, there is no how you can succeed in this present world. When I talk about succeed, I'm not talking about, things that has to do with life. But at the same time, it is also related to life. Because every organizations are, developing, they are upgrading into various, technologies. And this is one of the areas everybody needs to be educated to embrace technology in order to bring about the desired development that we need in our country and in West Africa as a whole. The skills development sector is under pressure. We know that. Despite the fact that we have this technology, bringing about many advantages into our economy, into our, personal life, there are still some dangers that we still need to look into to guide ourselves against in order for us not to fall victims. Now, as technology advancements transform the workplace, several jobs that have existed for many years are now being replaced by automated process or artificial intelligence, which have been said earlier on. I could remember when I was in the university, and when the electronic medical records was introduced into the healthcare system. During one of my practicals in one of the hospitals in Lagos State, those people who have been working in that hospital, they started frowning at this development. They found it very difficult to adapt to this change. They complained. And after a few months, this technology died. What could have made the healthcare system to grow? Now, because of their inability to adjust to change, they killed the system. And up till date, just recently anyway, that the federal government just revived it. That time, there was no law guiding the development of technology in Nigeria. But now, it has been made mandatory. So a lot of people's job is going to be threatened. And that is one of the reasons we need to really spread this gospel of technology that everybody needs to embrace. Now, moving forward, this means that the skills required to succeed in the workforce are changing dramatically, and the traditional education system is not always keeping up. One of the areas we need to look at is, our educational system. This is, a platform that is going to help improving the area of technology. When this is introduced into our curriculum, the learning curriculum of various institutions, it is going to help students to brace up, to have the knowledge of how technology can improve their lifestyle, how technology can improve the economy of the country. Next slide, please. And it is also clear that technology will continue to transform the skills development sector. Yes, we know that as such, it is crucial to stay ahead of the curve and adapt to approaches accordingly. Like I said earlier on, one of the problems that we are facing, not only in Nigeria, also in African country as a whole, is this ability to adjust to the new change. And, this is one of the things that is really slowing down the development of technology in African countries. So it is very important that we maintain the tempo. I mean, we improve the tempo of this. Everyone has the opportunity to develop the skills they need to succeed in the modern world. Opportunities are there for everyone to develop their skills. As a person, I'm still learning. I run different programs every now and then. I mean relevant technological program that improves my, my personal self. Next slide, please. So this is very important for everybody to be able to prepare their mind and see how they're going to improve. Now we look into the top globally demanded skills. They are more than this. This is just part of them. We have artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science analytics, data engineering, data visualization, network and security, network and information security. That's talking about the cyber security. Please, next slide. So these are top, globally demanded skills. Cloud computing, which is part of what we're going to talk about at this event. It is one of the areas we need to really embrace to improve the economy of West Africa. Extended reality, that's talking about virtual reality and augmented reality, Internet of Things, UI and UX design, mobile development, and blockchains and what have you. So these are many more. It will only be wise to start your journey to mastery one or more of them in the coming days. So even those of us that we are here, we have not stopped learning. There are so many things we still need to learn in order to develop our skill when it comes to the area of technology and improve our continent, Africa. We see so many developments, in developed countries such as United Kingdom, United States of America, Canada, and what have you. So these people, have programmed their minds to adapt to change, to move with the current trend in technology. And it will be very important in Africa, particularly in West Africa, for us to be able, to adapt with this. Lagos State, for instance, now is one of the very active states. I think, I stand to be corrected. One of the very active states in Africa that is moving with the speed of light when it comes to technological development. And when you go anywhere in Lagos State, if you have any problem, just talk about any problem that has to do with technology. When you come to Lagos State, you have even those people that didn't go to some formal schools. When you go to Computer Village, for instance, now, you will see a lot of guys, a lot of ladies at the Computer Village. Some of them didn't go to the university. But the kind of knowledge they have is beyond even some people that went through the 4 walls of the university. And this is the platform that the government needs to set to encourage the youth. The knowledge we have, among these youth that are in Computer Village, if the government can harness this knowledge, it is going to transform this country. It is going to transform African states. Next slide, please. Now, the technology, the way forward. The skills development in West Africa must embrace changes and use technology to its advantage to remain relevant in the future. We have the 6334 education in Nigeria, which, those of us that are Nigerian here, you understand what I'm talking about. The 6334 education is, was meant to transform education. But unfortunately, it is not really working as expected any longer because of the changes that has been introduced. And the federal government needs to, adapt to this change, to enter into this change and, improve. Now, the development of digital technologies is rapidly changing the skills development sector in Africa. This is particularly true in digital skill development, where new technology are helping to improve access to quality education and training. This platform was designed by West Africa Hybrid Cloud and Security Summit to promote the knowledge of technology and how we need to embrace, the cybersecurity in every facet of our lives. Next slide, please. The following are ways that technology is transforming the skill development. Number one, technology can be used to create more engaging learning experiences. That is part of what I've mentioned earlier on. I don't want to repeat myself. Number two, technology can help us to tailor learning experience. We have the LMS in our, the learning institution are really embracing the LMS now, to help students. You can remember when there was, issue with, ASU strike in Nigeria. Many universities, keyed into this technology, the LMS, the learning management system, and many were learning at home. Even the secondary school, the primary school students, they were learning from home. So these are part of, what we're talking about. Technology can help us to access skills more effectively. So many, opportunities are there on the internet that we can access at any point in time to improve our skill, to develop ourselves in the area of technology. Technology can help us to connect with learners in new ways, making learning to be fun. There are so many aspects that you can make learning to be fun. For example, now the aspect we mentioned earlier on, that is virtual reality, where we have, some gamification that can be used to make learning to be very, very much, interesting. Then we must be open to using new technology to stay ahead of curve. For us to be able to, succeed in this present economy, there is a need for us to upskill our knowledge of technology. Not just in a theoretical form, but to practice it as well. Next slide, please. Now, the skill development sector is under pressure, which I've mentioned earlier on. And here are some lessons for the future of skill development. Number one, flexibility. Number two, we talk about technology, will play a more significant role than ever before. Gone are those days when, we struggle. I'm going to use healthcare system as an example because that is where I belong to, right? When you get to the hospital, you want to see the doctor, you will get to the health information management department and meet with the officers there to have your, detail registered. They open a case note for you, and you can spend some time in that particular session before your case file, your case notes will now be taken into, the nursing section where you're going to have your vitals. And after which, sorry, what about my time? Okay, thank you very much. So then this will be taken to the nurses. They take the vital sign from there. It will be taken to the doctor. And before you know what is going on, each patient is spending nothing less than 15 to 20 minutes with a doctor, even not more. And this is affecting our healthcare system. Not only in Nigeria, but in other developing countries. So, but the technology has been introduced to change the face. It has made everything to become so flexible. Number two, technology will play a more significant role than ever before, which I've mentioned. The focus will be on outcomes and not inputs. And lastly, there will be a greater emphasis on continuous learning. These are part of the benefits of technology we're talking about. You can be anywhere in the world and you continue to learn. My second PhD is presently ongoing. And of course, I'm in Nigeria and I'm running my PhD. Thank God for technology. So these are the message that we need to pass across to various sectors in our economy. Next slide, please. There are identified platforms of skill development which have been listed. They are more than what we have up here. We have the Udemy, which I know everybody knows, the Coursera Job Readily Programmer, Pluralist, Pluralsight, Cloud Academy, O'Reilly, Damcamp, Cyber, Udacity, LinkedIn, 72.0 Health, Nigerian Computer Science, and so many of these. These are platforms that can be used to develop our skills. Like I said, they are much more than this. Next slide. In conclusion, the skills driven by technology advances. This is creating new opportunities for learners and educators alike. However, it is also presenting some challenges which need to be addressed in Africa, in order to continue to thrive in the future. Technology is very good, but at the same time, there are a lot of challenges that we still need to face. The time will not permit me to go into all those challenges, but let me round up with this, that by embracing new technology and keeping up with the latest trend, the skill development in West Africa can ensure that it remains at the forefront of learning and development, which is the summary of everything we are talking about. The aspect of learning in the area of technology, the aspect of education in the area of technology needs to be widely embraced in order for us to be able to, meet up with the global challenges. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Raphael. It was an interesting presentation, case study, of course, that you put across. So thank you. If there is any questions from the audience for Dr. Raphael, yes, you may please feel free to ask him. Anyone with any questions for Dr. Raphael? Okay. All right. Thank you again, Dr. Raphael.